So, Joe, welcome to our podcast. Nice to see you again.
Nice to be here. I've watched your podcast for quite a while now. It's a little strange being on it.
Yeah, it's quite a different feeling to be on a podcast than listen to a podcast.
I got my picture taken with you when I was at the concert on July 10th.
What did you think about the concert then? You must be a great fan going all the way from New York City, is it?
Yes, I wish it was a little bit longer, but it was incredible. Probably one of the best concerts I've ever been to.
Yeah. She's marvelous live. Not a lot of people can really produce singing like that when it's a live concert, I think.
Because most singers now use auto-tune.
Yeah, they can't sing.
Going to Norway, it was like going to your own birthday party, but it was even better than that because it was almost like going to your own rebirth party because you're like reborn when you hear her.
You go into a completely different world when you listen to her.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge Grateful Dead fan. I've been to over 300 concerts, and hands down, she's probably the best concert I've ever seen.
Joe, you're too young to be a Grateful Dead fan.
No, not at all. I was born in 1966. I was in the perfect age for the Grateful Dead.
Okay. They were in the height of their career in 1966.
Yeah, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, until Jerry passed away.
I'm also born in 1966.
It's a great year.
Yeah, I was born on 26th of December, so it's my birthday soon.
So, Joseph, you're in a very, very unique position, and you straddle both worlds because not only are you an Angelina Jordan fan, but you also are in the media business. And so we hope to hear from both sides of the fence. What is your job description? How would you describe what you do?
What I do is I'm a technical supervisor, and what we do is all the finishing work for everything that's streaming. Our department is called multi-platform distribution. So we deal with mostly the international audiences. So I deal with TV2, TV4, we deal with Germany, Israel. Anything you see online, you will see on your networks, usually goes through my department. It was funny is when I was in Norway, I was watching CSI, which I did in New York, and I'm watching it while I was in Norway, which was a little odd.
Wow, that's cool. And were you around when Norway TV did their Norway's Got Talent? That's a big question. No.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like 2014.
Yeah, okay. So you missed that one. So how did you find out about Angelina? How did you first discover her?
What it was is during the pandemic, one of my favorite singers of all time is Billie Holiday. And I was just happened to be listening to Billie Holiday when I was in my kitchen. I was watching a YouTube video, and after the Billie Holiday song came up, Angelina came up singing "I'm a Fool to Want You." Then I saw her on America's Got Talent, and it was literally, what else does she have? And I just fell through the rabbit hole.
Yeah. Alan and I did a documentary quite recently, and in the documentary, the script says that she showed the world also that she's not just a Billie Holiday imitator. You might suspect that because she's said that Billie Holiday is one of the artists she really looks up to.
No, I can answer. Even if you hear Angelina Young compared to Billie Holiday, they're similar but completely different. They're completely distinct sounds.
And so what is your insights then, being so close to the media industry when it comes to the release of her new album?
So I was really hoping it would be released before Christmas.
Oh, wait, hold on. Rob, when is Angelina Jordan's album going to be released? Hello from New York City, from Joey Farr.
That is a great question. 2023. I wish it was sooner, but it will be after, well into the new year.
YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, it really killed music and television to where in order to become a star, you would go on Letterman or Johnny Carson back in the day, or even Seth Rogen, to where now it's just like make a video yourself and upload it to YouTube, which, really hurts television. Because television and music used to work hand in hand.
That's true. Like back in the day what show was that where the big names always appeared, like Ed Sullivan Show? That's like a classic, right?
He actually started out as a newspaper journalist, and he would get a scoop. And he just then went to being a TV host where he would get a scoop for the TV show.
So everything's changed nowadays. It's all online, is it?
Think about it, you watch any late night show or any talk show, you never see musical guests anymore. It's quicker and easier and cheaper to do it online,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate. And I really think that music can help certain shows that are hurting for ratings.
With your perspective of both being a very heavy Angelina Jordan fan, plus being in the industry, if you were advising her, what would you say would be the best way forward? What advice would you give to further her career with your knowledge of the industry?
Honestly, my personal opinion is I think her family's doing the perfect job. I don't think they should rush her into it. Everybody knows that she's going to be one of the greatest singers ever to live. And I think her family's doing the perfect job, just bringing her in baby steps. And I think if she gets rushed into it, I'm afraid that people will be pulling on both ends of her, and I think it could burn her out.
I think you're right. I think that's good advice. How will she achieve her breakthrough? Do you think it will come bit by bit, or do you think it will be one particular album?
I think it'll be one particular song. It's usually one song that will put an artist over the top, and then everything else is gravy. I think once Angelina releases her album, I believe one of those songs on there will be #1 hit. That's when Watch Out World.
And do you think that will be an original song of her, or do you think it will be a cover song?
No, absolutely be original song.
Do you think it might be Million Miles?
Unfortunately, Million Miles has been released for almost 2 years, and I love the song. But me personally, it's been on the market too long. It'll be one of her greatest songs, but it won't be her breakthrough song. I think it'll be one of her original songs from her new album.
Yeah, I mean, she has said that she can't wait to release her new music, and we can all interpret that as we will, but I think it's original songs that is really what she's hinting at there. But it would be very interesting to see if any covers are also included on the album. How do you think about that?
Like, I originally thought My Funny Valentine will be on her album because that sounded like it was professionally recorded. That's what I assumed. But when she released it, I thought the album would come out in about June. But no, I definitely think there'll be a couple of covers on there.
She's so associated with being the best cover artist out there. So I think it would be a shame if there's not a single one on her album. But I don't know if we compare to other artists that have their first albums. For instance, Adele, which is also one of her idols. But I don't think that included any covers at all. I think it was just all her own songs. And it's difficult to tell how much work she's really doing on her own songwriting. We know she has contacts with a couple of great producers out there, like the Norwegian team, Stargate. And then also we see her with Mark Ronson too. And I think with a voice and a talent like hers, isn't the industry open to just embrace her with everything? Isn't anyone interested in working with her?
Yeah, there's so many duets that she could do songs with. But me personally, I don't think she really needs to do that.
No, she can do it on her own.
Joe, to go back to your suggestion that there's going to be one breakout song, what type of breakout song do you think that will be? Will that be like a Bohemian Rhapsody type of song? Or will that be like a Suspicious Minds type of song? Which direction do you think her original work will go in that will be the breakout song? Do you think it might be a jazzy type of song?
Yeah, I think it'd be more like towards Seventh Heaven, a more upbeat song than a more somber song like A Million Miles, which is a very sad song. I think it's going to be a cross between pop and jazz to where she could get a broader audience. And which is nice is that she's bringing the older crowd towards the newer music and the younger crowd towards the older music. Because if it wasn't for Angelina, I mean, how many people would have known The Show Must Go On? How many people would know who sang that? The Generation Z. They know because of Angelina.
I think if anybody could revive those old classics, it's Angelina, of course. The way she takes care of a song and really present it in its best light ever is just pure magic, really.
Yeah, like even when she sang Bohemian Rhapsody, her original version, it also gave Queen an uptick on their version of Bohemian Rhapsody, that more people even watch that because of Angelina, and vice versa.
Yeah, and they liked it so much, so they gave her the copyright for that version.
She must have a lot of copyrights at home decorating her walls.
And then some artists saying, please stop singing my songs. Why don't you sing somebody else's song?
She's quite a one-off. I wasn't expecting to come across this type of artist just out of the blue. You know, there are great singers and there are great artists who I appreciate, but this is just a completely different level, and none of us were expecting it. There are people who get Angelina, and then there are people who are bowled over and it changes their life.
Yeah, I'm one of the people that, like I said, I was a huge Deadhead, and once I listened to her, my life completely changed for the better.
Yeah. In what way did your life change? Did something shift inside of you, or did you have a different perspective on the world?
I was going through a tough time when I first discovered Angelina, and her music just got me through to be a better person, to help other people. And yeah, because of her, I was able to go to Norway this summer to go see her.
Was it one particular song that moved you in a specific direction, or was it a gradual cumulative experience of listening to her very often that sort of shifted something deep inside of you?
No, it was a cumulative to where once I heard I'm a Fool to Want You, then Bohemian Rhapsody, and then just constantly listening to her, and her music's inspiring.
I think that's a key word, inspiring. I feel that very strongly as well. I think I've had a similar experience as you had. Not only both born 66, but I also discovered her during the pandemic and during a low period in my life. It meant so much to me to discover her. And I can't put my finger on really what it is in her that makes me want to share to the world that this is a great artist. I never felt that. Have you felt that?
Never. Being a Deadhead was like just literally every night going to a carnival, a freak show. It's just something was always, it was completely different than Angelina.
You can go to two different restaurants. One restaurant, you order chicken soup and they put the chicken in the pot and they boil it and they give you that. The other restaurants, they have 25 different ingredients in the chicken soup, and you can taste each one of them, and it's rich, and every mouthful has a different flavor. And she is like that when she sings a song. Every word she comes to has a different emphasis and a different feel and a different flavor, and sometimes there are different feels within one word. And no other artist has done that.
Yeah, there's something you just feel about her when she sings. And like a lot of people said, you just forget you're listening to her and you just go off into a world to where then you come back to reality and be like, I need more.
Yeah, it's like going to on a trip or something.
Yeah.
And maybe she's taking us along with her into her world where she goes when she sings, because she's often talked about that world, of course. And maybe that is a part of the secret why we get so affected, that we actually can get a glimpse or a sense of that wonderful world.
I think that's a really good point, Pontus, because how she sings and what she communicates, if she is an empath, she actually makes us an empath as well, because she's making us feel how she's feeling. And if she's having a glorious opening emotional experience, that's the reaction that we are getting too. And that's really what true art is, to change how we feel and to show us a different, more glorious world than we can imagine.
Yeah, well said, Alan.
Yeah, I totally agree.
That is like the essence of art in itself. That is the purpose of art, really, like taking us away from this world and showing us something grander.
The human spectrum fills me with wonder. If I lived to be 500 years old, I would still be fascinated by human nature and how different people are and how rich their life can be and how they express themselves. And then we come across someone like Angelina Jordan, and she makes me rethink all of that. How can she do what she does? What's going on? I have to go back to basics. I have to go back to the alphabet to understand words again.
Maybe there's something, I'm thinking back to what you said, Joe, about your first experience there with her that was similar to mine. And the place that both you and I were at mentally, I think, is similar. And maybe that is also part of the reason why we were open to go on this journey. We were looking, maybe not consciously, but unconsciously looking for something in our life that makes it worth living, really.
Yeah, I was definitely looking for something, and there's something in her music that just moves you. You know, I can't say it any simpler. It's a feeling you get inside, which is I wasn't used to.
You see, everyone in their grandmother plus vocal coaches is full of analysis of what Angelina Jordan does. But Pontus and I started this podcast because we think analysis has its limits. And we want to describe the feeling not in an analytical way, but in a rich, personal, subjective way, because that's the nature of art. That's what happens inside of us. What happens inside of us is not what chemical is reaching the brain. What's happening inside of us is love and tears. And it's not a matter of analyzing why we have the tears. It's a matter of bathing in the tears. It's a matter of cleansing yourself in the tears.
Yeah, listen to Angelina. I was really surprised. I have never cried. My eyes sweated. I don't cry. My eyes sweat. She broke me down, and she makes you think and feel things that you really think you aren't going to.
There was one moment where she says, this old lady came up to me and said that she cried, and I said, I'm sorry, and then she gave me a hug. And she was maybe 8 years old when she said that. And it was delightful. Maybe there were some moments when she was 7 or 8 where she didn't understand the effect. And I wonder how she came to understand the effect that she has on people. I don't think it's something that she necessarily nurtured, and I don't think it's something that she has intended. I just think this is, on a very deep level, how she understands art and also how she understands life. And we are lucky enough through her art to get a window into her soul. And her soul is very pure. And that's what makes us cry, the purity of her soul.
And she is what you get with her. When I met her at the airport, she was no different than she was on stage. She was just the nicest, sweetest person that you can imagine.
Wow. And you must tell that story. So you were you were going back to the States and you just happened to get on board on the same plane as Angelina and her family?
Yeah, unfortunately for both of us, we were flying SAS, but unfortunately there was a pilot strike. So when we were checking in, they just happened to be standing in front of me at check-in. And I recognized Sarah right away. I was like, hey, I know you guys. And I introduced myself to Angelina and her uncle. I just happened to be lucky enough to sit next to them on the airplane on the way home.
Wow. So they put you on the seat right next to Angelina.
We were in the preferred class, but I was on the other side of the plane. And we boarded first. I was sitting in my seat, and a woman came up to me and asked me, her and her husband are on their honeymoon. Would I mind switching seats? They couldn't get seats together. And since I just met Angelina, I was in the world's greatest mood. So I was like, okay, why not? And just so happened the seat I swapped was sitting right next to that.
What a coincidence. That must have been the shortest flight back from Europe to the States ever.
It was the fastest 7.5 hours of my life. I was like, oh, can we just circle around the airport for a few hours?
What was it like then? Yeah.
Sarah and Angelina are literally BFFs. Sarah was so warm and caring. It was really nice to see a very tight-knit family that cares about one another. It was really an honor to watch. They were just such nice people.
We're both thinking of where is Angelina's next concert. We got to go there, and I'm betting one of the stops will be New York City, don't you think?
I'm hoping Carnegie Hall or Radio City Music Hall.
Yeah.
Either one.
We'll be there.
I'll be surprised if she doesn't do one in LA. because I think she's pretty well known in California. And of course, she must come back to Norway because she does consider that home, and that's tried and tested. So she knows there, and probably would go to Japan. Unfortunately, I don't think she will come to England. I don't think she has a wide enough fan base here. But
You never know. Bristol, isn't that the Hawaii of England?
it's only the Hawaii of England for Swedish people when I invite them to come and visit me.
When you lure them in.
Yeah, lure. Yeah, good word. Joseph, you missed your chance because when you were on the airplane, you could have said, "Oh, Angelina, you sing as well as you speak. Let me get out my video phone, and why don't you sing into here, and then I can put it on my YouTube channel."
That I could never do. That I would never do.
No.
I've been in television for so long that where I've dealt with actors and athletes, and I just leave them alone. I don't want to be one of those people that bother them. And
No, you gotta show respect where it's due. I mean, I talked also a little bit with Sarah at the concert, just a few minutes. She was outside greeting everybody that stood in line, which was very nice of her. She wanted to make sure everybody was going to have a good time. And I thought, yeah, that won't be a problem. Don't you worry. And I told her that Alan and I, we had this podcast, and it would be great if Angelina could come on our show. And I got a sense, I can't remember exactly how she put it, but I got a sense that Angelina is not very keen on doing long interviews, that she's a bit young. Yeah.
And she's young, she's shy.
And also, I think she's sort of a sensitive person. I don't know if she is an empath. We call her an empath, but I don't even know what the definition of an empath is. But I'm imagining she could be sensitive in that way, that she can sense other people's feelings and she wants everybody to be happy. At least I'm just thinking about how I react. If I go to myself, I'm always thinking about other people's feelings more than I actually should. I have a very difficult time watching embarrassing videos. I want to hide under a pillow. People are different. People have different needs and feelings. So we should respect that.
Yeah.
That's great, Pontus, because if everyone were like that, then people would understand each other more and people could relate better to each other. It is when people are closed off in themselves and they cannot imagine how another person feels or what it must be like. That is when differences and disagreements happen. So if we're all able to extend outside of ourselves and understand someone else and imagine what it's like to be them, then that is a very simple beginning for changing the world.
And maybe Angelina can be a little part of that puzzle of changing the world to a better place with her art. If she really can get that breakthrough to the masses, I think that's a key. And as you were hinting there, Joe, maybe it will be with a song that have a broad attraction to all ages. And I think she can do it.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree. I think she's the only artist that can do the breakthrough to where she could bring all generations together, with one song.
And of course, that's her mission in life. She said it very young. She wants to sing to the world.
There's a lot of spillover because Angelina Jordan is not about music. Angelina Jordan is a catalyst. She's about transformation. They will give courses in the future about Angelina Jordan and psychological transformation, and Angelina Jordan and spiritual revelation. The sky's the limit.
Yeah, sometimes I wonder if that is really going to happen. But then again, you hear all those reactors out there, the effect she has on them. It's really mind-boggling. Just the other day, I watched a new reactor react to Angelina for the first time.
Those are the best.
Yeah, those are the best.
The first ones, I love watching them.
This guy, he seemed quite young and he seemed like a tough guy. And he was crying when she was singing Bohemian Rhapsody. There is something about her that really connects to people in a way that I've never seen in any other artist.
Yeah. Adrian said that it is the sheer beauty of what she does. And that's true, but it's because it's so unexpected. You don't expect to have that type of sheer beauty in a singing voice. So it's almost incongruous. It's so unexpected when it hits you.
Yeah, it's like when the tears start falling, or as you say, Joe, when you start sweating in the eyes.
Yeah, your eyes sweat.
You don't know really why. It's a different feeling. I can look back at the time before discovering Angelina, and sure, I was moved by stuff. I was moved by athletes performing well or people excelling at stuff. But nowadays, I'm moved like every day. And I think that's the key here. It does something to me to be able to connect to that part of myself that is vulnerable and gets to my emotions. So my emotions is up on the surface all the time. And I think that's the key to changing your life.
I totally agree.
That's great. If I were a scientist, I would do some research. I would collect all tears which were produced from Angelina Jordan, and then all tears which are produced from other occasions, and analyze the difference chemically and see what Angelina Jordan tears and how they're different than ordinary tears.
Yeah, I wonder what you would find.
Maybe some dopamine, some type of chemical similar to some hallucinogenic.
Now you're talking to a deadhead.
Yeah, quite.
Yeah. Now we're getting somewhere. Finally.
Finally.
Yeah.
Joe, it's nice to be talking with you, Joe, and it's been a treat to speak to someone new about Angelina Jordan and the phenomena that she is. Everyone has a slightly different spin, and we will keep spinning and spinning with this.
Yeah, I appreciate both of you gentlemen for having me on. Truly appreciate it.
Yeah. And of course, we always end with a request. Do you have a particular song you want us to put here on the? Do you want something with Billie Holiday?
Then, of course, it would be I'm a Fool to Want You.
Yeah. She does that really well. I mean, the versions she has on that album, it's magic. I think that's one of my top 5 songs from Angelina, I think. The way she does that is just...
And I love that her grandmother was in a booth when she recorded it.
That's also right, yeah. The nuances she gets from that performance, you can't imagine anyone singing like that. And we have also the video of her doing it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joseph. You're a star. Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I'm a fool to want you. I'm a fool to want you. To want love and that can't be true. A love that's there for others too. I'm a fool to hold you. Such a fool to hold you. To seek a kiss, not mine alone. To share a kiss that devil has known. Time and time again, I said I'd leave you. Time and time again, I went away. But then would come the time when I would need you, and you said I'm a fool to warn you. They tell me I need you. I know it's wrong, it must be wrong, but right or wrong, I can't give along without you. I can't give it out without you. Det var kjempebra.
A lot of Angelina Jordan fans call her a musical genius. And I think it could be a good idea to take a really deep dive into that and find out what that means and ask some people who are expert in their own fields. And so we will be speaking with Bart, the law professor, Lutke, the musical scholar, and Adrian, the scientist. And we will be asking each one of those the same two questions. What is your definition of genius? And how would you describe the genius of Angelina Jordan?